Everybody, welcome to tonight's Ordinary Council meeting, 7 p.m. on St Patrick's Day to you here at the Kalgoorlie Town Hall, and I declare tonight's meeting open at 7 p.m. On behalf of the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners on the land in which we meet this evening. I'd also like to pay my respects to Elders past and present. If you are with us this evening, please stand, and we don't need to remove any hats. Pastor Cherie Hughes is with us from C3 Church tonight.
How about we bow our heads? Lord, we thank you for this time together this evening. Lord, would you go before these proceedings? With the decisions to be made, the conversations to be had, Lord, we ask for your wisdom and discernment. We ask for your blessing over our region tonight. We ask for your blessing over families, marriages, civic systems, our emergency services. Lord, would you bless our region? Lord, I pray for the leadership of our city. Lord, would you go before them tonight, Lord God? I pray for those that have got big decisions to make. I pray for those that are the auxiliary staff that have been working behind the scenes. God, we ask for your blessing. May you go before us, make our path straight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Item 3 for our agenda tonight, I'll read our disclaimer. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on the Council's website in accordance with the City's public participation in Council meetings policy, which can be viewed on Council's website. All reasonable care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in the public gallery, it is assumed your consent is given if your image is broadcast. The recommendations contained in this agenda are officers' recommendations only and should not be acted upon until Council has resolved to adopt those recommendations. The resolutions of Council should be confirmed by perusing the minutes of the Council meeting at which these recommendations were considered. Members of the public should also note that they act at their own risk if they enact any resolution prior to receiving official written notification of Council's decision. Councillors, for the first time in 2025, we've got all councillors present at a meeting, which is wonderful. So all councillors are present this evening. Our CEO is here, Mr. Andrew Bryan. Andrew, welcome back. After your week away with your study tour last week, you were accompanied by the Director of Advocacy and Strategy, Mia Hicks. Welcome back as well, Mia. Director of Engineering, Louis Camporelli, is with us tonight. Hello, Louis. Director of Corporate and Commercial, Cass Yeager, is with us tonight. Good evening, Cass. And also Xandra Kernock, who's our Executive Manager of Finance. Good evening. Francis Liston is with us tonight, our Executive Manager of Governance and Risk Services, alongside Jamie Boys, who's the Governance Officer, and also Matt Pearson, who is our ICT Risk and Compliance Officer. And his parents also join us tonight as well. Good evening to you both, Greg and Sam. We've got members of the press who are with us. No apologies, no leave of absence, no response to previous public questions taken on notice. They were forwarded, those previous public questions were forwarded correspondence. No public access or public question time tonight, no petitions, deputations or presentations. This evening we have some interests. I'll start with 8.1, the interest affecting impartiality. We have a declaration from Councillor Winner, who has an impartiality on interest of item 15.5.2, which is the Kalgoorlie-Boulder Tourism Plan. As Council appointed him member of the board as the chair of the Kalgoorlie-Boulder Visitor Centre, they were consulted in the development of the plan. And I've also declared an impartiality interest on 15.5.9 tonight, the development application for a medical centre and office on Egan Street, lot 52, that's 158 to 160, as I've hosted events where a beneficiary is the RFDS WA. 8.2, we have two, sorry councillors, is there any further impartialities? No. 8.2, financial interests. We have Councillor Turner, who has declared an interest in item 14.16. That is the overdue debtors report as of the 31st of December. Councillor Turner's also declared a financial interest in item 15.13. That is the superannuation payments to council members. And Councillor Bodica has declared an interest in that item as well. Any further financial interest, councillors? Councillor Turner, turn your mic on, please.
Just a question, that 15.13, if we don't all have to declare an interest because
It's not a specific to a specific title, it's to the title as a whole of being a councillor, so therefore it would affect all.
No, well, that's fine, you can withdraw mine.
Withdraw your financial interest in
So all the
item.
same.
Yep. And you'll do the same, Councillor Bodica, thank you. Noting that those two financial interests have been withdrawn. 8.3, proximity interests. We have three this evening. Deputy Mayor Kirsty Della has a proximity interest in item 1556, change of non-conforming use on holiday accommodation lot 173, unit 2, number 178 Egan Street, Kalgoorlie, as she is a director of a company that owns the property to the rear of the address. Also aligned for 1557, that same proximity interest, as it's all part of the same complex. But we'll read it just for minute-taking purposes. 1557, change of non-conforming use, holiday accommodation, lot 173, unit 5, number 178, Egan Street, Kalgoorlie, as the Deputy Mayor is a director of a company that owns the property to the rear of the address. Councillor Viskovich, we have a proximity interest for you on item 1531, the Golf Course Dam Site Evaluation Report. Is that correct? Declaring a proximity on that one, as you have a residence across the road. Any other further proximities, councillors? No, thank you. They are our interests for tonight. Councillors, I have one leave of absence request. Is there any further? Nope. Councillor Turner, from the 30th of March to the 23rd of April, off to Hollywood for medical reasons. Thank you. I'll take that as Hollywood Hospital. And also one from Councillor Viskovich, from the 27th of the 3rd to the 31st of the 3rd, away for work. May I have a mover to accept those? Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Seconded, Councillor Bodica. Any further discussion? Any dissent? Carried 9-0. Item 9.2, procedural motion to suspend 9.1 standing orders, which requires members of council to rise to speak. May I have a mover of that procedural? Thank you, Councillor Viskovich and Deputy Mayor. Moved, Councillor Viskovich. Seconded, Deputy Mayor. No dissent, councillors. Carried 9-0. Councillors, item 10, the announcements by the person presiding without discussion. These are a bit of a look through the last month or thereabouts. Just noting, obviously we've come off the back of the state election, so a couple of discussions there. We had the Miners' Memorial, which the Deputy Mayor accompanied me to. We had a couple of one committee meeting. Also workshops in regard to our strategic community plan and a review of that, training associated with that. Had some meetings about water security and also with other businesses in relation to rail and transport logistics. I'll tell you a funny one. I was a guest speaker on Wednesday night last week for the WA regional tour for the Australian Water Association, and as soon as I started guest speaking, we received about 5 to 10 mil of rain. So I've invited them to come back next week. We met with hoteliers last week, and thanks to Councillor Bodica and also Councillor Johnson, who joined that meeting alongside the Deputy Mayor. Councillor Viskovich, were you there? Yes. Yep, thank you. Insightful meeting. The CKB Marketplace in the Town Hall on Saturday. Mr CEO, can you please pass on, and I'll put this in writing as well, my thanks and our thanks as elected members to the staff who participated on Saturday morning. The buzz on Hannon Street, the fact that people had to drive the block a few times to find a car park, the fact that we had a very engaged and active CBD led by the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder and our staff who gave up their Saturday mornings to help communicate with the community is to be applauded. So thank you very much to your staff. And I believe it was your idea to bring the marketplace style to the city, so thank you very much. It was very positive and very well enforced. We also had the Early Childhood Education Care Conference as well. I do note that the proceedings were put together, noting a Northern Star presentation for tonight. That did not proceed, so I'll take that off. Any questions, councillors? No. Item 10.2, without discussion. Councillors, tonight we have the odour report. This will be made public tomorrow morning. We do not need a motion to do that because we've already engaged our CEO. As of tomorrow morning, this will be available on our website for people to look at the odour report in full. Can I applaud you for your openness and transparency and the fact that we are listening to our community. The hold-up with releasing this particular document has been that there are other stakeholders who are mentioned in this particular report. We've had to wait for the approval from them that they were comfortable in releasing the information. So therefore, that is now a public document as of tomorrow morning. It'll be online for people to view and to read up on our odour impact investigation. Well done, councillors, on your transparency and your commitment to that. Item 11, the confirmation of minutes from our previous council meeting, which was on the 17th of February, be confirmed as a true record of that meeting. Do I have a mover for that particular meeting than those minutes that were presented? Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Seconder, Councillor O'Donnell. Any discussion? No worries. No dissent, councillors? Carried 9-0. Item 12, there are no motions of which previous notice has been given and no urgent business approved by the person presiding or by decision. Councillors, the en bloc for the reports of committees will take in the following numbers. Item 14.1.1, the annual committee work plan for 2025. Item 14.1.2, the compliance audit return for 2024. Item 14.1.3, the year-to-date progress dashboards as of the 31st of December 2024. Item 14.1.4, the audit recommendation progress. Item 14.1.5, the tenders awarded under delegation from October 2024 to December 2024. Item 14.1.7, the purchasing policy exemptions October 2024 to December 2024. Item 14.1.8, the WHS quarterly report. Item 14.1.9, the asset management project. And that is it, as I have a councillor who wishes to speak on 14.1.10. Do I have a mover for the en bloc of the officer recommendations for those particular items? Moved, Councillor O'Donnell. Seconder, Councillor Winner. Thank you very much. I'll take those as presented en bloc and approved 9-0. Which takes us to 14.1.6, which Councillor Turner has declared a financial in, which is the overdue debtors report as of the 31st of December 2024, as Councillor Turner leaves the room. Councillors, a mover of the motion 14.1.6. Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Seconded, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? Councillor Johnson, you wish to speak? Any dissent, councillors? No. Carried 8-0. May we have Councillor Turner back, please? And councillors will be up to 14.1.10, the pool inspection project plan. Councillor O'Donnell, I'll have you down to speak. Do you wish to move the motion? That council receives a report for 14.1.10. Seconder, Councillor Brownlee. Councillor O'Donnell, wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I made a comment on this last week and I just want to reiterate. In my opinion, the pool inspections is one of the most important duties and jobs within the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder and in that fact within any shire. Until you've actually seen a drowning in person, which I don't want anybody else to do, it won't hit you as much. I've been there, done that, and it's not good. Personally, I'd like to see owners of pool have a licence. As an example, you've got car licence, vehicle licences. If they expire, you can't drive. You can't utilise your car. In my opinion, this should be for pools. As an example, every 4 years we have to inspect a pool. So your pool is current for 4 years. And then it's up to the owner to contact the council. I've read the reports where the city councillors spend hours upon hours upon hours trying to locate owners, trying to be nothing worse than we do have a drowning of a young child and the pool didn't comply to the city. So my personal opinion is hopefully going forward we could possibly mention this to Wolga to bring to the government. As an example, if you don't renew your pool licence, you get hit with a $1,000 fine, straight up. Some people say that's a bit harsh. Well, pools are luxuries. If you're the owner of a pool, $1,000 is nothing. So, again, I just want to reiterate that I believe this is a very, very important job that we have with the city, and I applaud those that are working in there, trying to do their bit, but trying to jump hurdles continually with owners and tenants to get access can be very hard. I think we need to make it a bit more easier for officers in any shire. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Thanks for sharing. Councillor Brownlee? No? Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? The mover doesn't have the right of reply. There's nothing to reply. No dissent, councillors, to 14.1.10. Carried 9-0. Reports of officers. Councillors will have another en bloc motion for these particular items. This will cover off 15.1.1, which is the accounts payable, and 15.1.2, which is the statement of financial activity. 15.3.2, which is the city cleaning tender. 15.5.3, which is the change of use for a holiday house in South Kalgoorlie at lot 31516 Belgravia Place. 15.5.4, which is change of use for a holiday house at lot 2, number 16A, Salisbury Road, South Kalgoorlie. 15.5.5, which is over my page, which is the change of use for a home business, lot 2, number 3, Shore Street in West Flemington. And 15.5.8, which is a retrospective application for a home business and sea container, lot 319, number 1, Hanson Street in Victory Heights. Councillors okay with that? Anything else? Everything else will be discussed. A mover of the recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Brownlee. Seconder. Councillor Turner. Thank you. No dissent on that, councillors. For that, we'll carry that 9-0 on all those items being carried unanimous. That then takes us to item 15.1.3, the superannuation payments to council members, noting that there were originally financial interests for both Councillor Turner and Councillor Boddicker, and they were withdrawn at the start of the meeting. A mover to accept the officer recommendation. Councillor Viskovich, thank you. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? No. Councillor Johnson, you wish to speak? Councillor Winner, I note that you're down here. You wish to speak against? Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight I won't be in support of this motion, as I don't believe this should be considered until it becomes mandated by the state government. I don't believe that any additional payments to councillors outside of what is mandated should be considered until, at the very least, clear and transparent councillor KPIs are set, adopted and reported on. We are elected members of the community, not staff. In my opinion, if elected members wish to receive similar benefits to city staff outside of what is mandated, then I believe they should be held to the same levels of accountability and requirements. This change would affect all councillors as a collective. And I feel that as a combined collective, not all of us are yet performing at a level expecting of our community. The fact that there are no tools currently to accurately measure performance or to justify payment, I do not think we should be supporting this, and I won't be tonight. Additional benefits should be given for fair, equitable and good reasons, and I fail to see what the good reason is behind this at this point in time. I truly hope councillors reconsider their stance on this item and consider the precedents that this will and has previously set. This feels wrong. This feels wrong at this point in time, and I would encourage councillors to ask themselves, if our community was asked their views on this matter, what would their answer be? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker for. Speaker against. Councillor Turner.
I too won't be supporting this tonight. I understand that it is a change to the Local Government Act, which does not come into place until October. I understand why the staff have put it forward to try and have a smoother transition because it will be mandated in that time. However, I fully concur with Councillor Winner in his sentiments. To me, this in effect is an 11% increase in our base allowance. We receive an allowance to be councillors. In other councils, that might be an allowance and a sitting fee, which is possibly something that we should be looking at adopting ourselves as well. I fully concur with Councillor Winner that I don't believe that this is an equitable use of funds and that we're not staff. Quite simply, we're not staff. I can't support it. It's an 11% increase in the cost for our city, for our elected members. So we already received an allowance at the top of our band, and I feel that that is adequate. We know what that is when we're coming on to council, and like everything that Councillor Winner said, I fully support. He couldn't have put it any better.
Speaker for. Speaker against. Speaker for. Speaker against. Before the mover has a right of reply tonight, I'll speak for this officer recommendation. The point 1 of the adopting of the payment of superannuation contributions to council members commencing from the 1st of July 2025 allows staff an easier flow through for their budgeting processes. Point 2, if any councillors feel that they are taking advantage of the community from this, you have the opportunity from the 1st of July to opt out. You do not need to receive this until the time is allocated, which is at the time of the election. If you feel strongly about it, I expect to see your letter addressed to the CEO so you can opt out of it as soon as possible. It's not actually on there, but another point is that it is mandated. And while Councillor Winner, you've brought up some very good points tonight, the way in which this has progressed to council is through legislative purposes. It's been beyond our control. We haven't been a council that has supported this as such, as a whole. However, through the legislative process and the review of the Local Government Act recently, it has been put to all Band 1 and Band 2 shires. And I will make another point. It's not just 11%, Councillor Turner, it's actually 12%. Mover has the right of reply. No. As there is dissent, councillors, those in favour of the officer recommendation tonight, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those against? Councillors Turner and Winner, thank you. That is carried 7-2. Item 1514 is a Mosaic Brands Limited Rockman's write-off requiring an absolute majority, so it wasn't part of the en bloc tonight. Do we have a mover to accept the officer recommendation? Councillor Bodica, seconder Councillor Viskovich. Councillor Bodica, you wish to speak? Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? No. No dissent? Carried 9-0. Uh, 1521, Advocacy and Strategy. Councillor Winner, you were down to speak to this one. Would you like to endorse the officer recommendation? Yes. Go. So moved by Councillor Winner. Seconder, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Winner, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, for me, this motion is very, very important for our community, and I commend the work of officers to advance this behind the scenes to where we are here tonight. We lose way too many people due to accidents each year on our roads, with the impacts of those losses being felt throughout our region. The support our council will receive by becoming registered as a roadwise council is invaluable and far-reaching, and will set a clear mandate that road safety and safety as a whole is absolutely critical to this council and to this community. This is a strong step in the right direction to seeing better outcomes and safer environments for everyone. I am very confident that this motion will be well supported around the table, and I cannot wait for our city to become a road-wise partner in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Winner. I'd like to, I suppose, echo your comments. I'd also like to make note that this weekend alone we saw 7 deaths on West Australian roads. So these initiatives will not come soon enough, and I know they've always been there, but I think as a local government, for us to take a step in the right direction, supporting and engaging this at a strategic level is important, not only now but further into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Turner.
I too would like to speak in support of this motion. I'd also like to make note of the Deputy Mayor, who I believe brought it to the attention of Council and asked for our city to once again participate in this, as it had been some years since we had been involved in this. It was highlighted to us, I suppose, the issues, and we want to highlight road safety with a very proactive member of our community, and Mr Daniel Campo, and I'd also like to thank him with his advocacy in this matter. As the Deputy Mayor highlighted, we did have a horrific weekend on our roads, and in one of those accidents, 3 young people died in an accident. 1 death on the road is one too many. We, as a community, we need to be very proactive. There are more vehicles on the road than ever before, and whatever we can do to educate our community and make it a safer place to be on the roads is a step in the right direction.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Speaker for? Before the mover has the right of reply, I'd like to applaud what councillors and continue that applaud for what councillors have already put forward in becoming a Roadwise council again, having been previous Roadwise chair and also being part of the committee when we lost our employee on the ground who was in charge of road safety. Things did fall away. I know that the Director of Advocacy and Strategy at the Walga Awards last year was extremely buoyant about trying to start to get back involved with Roadwise again, and that has been accelerated too through the advocacy of Mr Campo, who I met with last week, as you may note, and he's still continuing his plight for regional road safety, in particular noting that signs on roads in the eastern states every 20 to 30 metres, and there's only 1 billboard between here and probably Northam that has a road safety message on it. So there is a lot that we can do, and we can continue to advocate for to have safer roads and also safer environments on our roads as well, especially the long distances that we need to travel. The mover was Councillor Winner. You have the right of reply. Sorry, preemptive that. Going for a drink. With that, councillors and no dissent, we'll carry that 9-0. Item 15.3.1, golf course dam. Councillor Viskovich, you've declared an interest. Proximity? Yep. No, you need to leave. Thank you. Councillors, we have an officer.
I stress need to be proactive in shoring up our water security options for the future. It's unfortunate this project was delayed by an additional 4 months given the outcomes outlined in the officer's report, and I would have liked us to be much further along by now than we are, but we cannot continue to delay important work such as this, as we need storage and dam options, or water will continue to be an issue for our community. I want to see our community have everything it needs and deserves. If we, as a community, expect to grow and maintain a high standard of livability, we need to be exploring and acting on numerous water opportunities, including the city's water bank project, as a matter of priority. We need to be innovative, and we need to be driving opportunities forward. I hope tonight Council supports this motion to allow the first of many water catchment and storage programs to proceed and shore up a greener and more sustainable future for Kalgoorlie-Boulder. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you again, Councillor Winner. I'd also like to agree with Councillor Winner in increasing catchment here in the city is a priority, just so that we can have our parks remain green. It has been told to me before that initiatives like this are probably not something that the community appeal to. I beg to differ, because if I've heard anything over the last few months, it is how disappointed our community is in that our parks and gardens aren't as green as what they should be from our water catchment facilities. So I encourage council to also support this motion tonight.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Speaker against? Point of information. Go ahead, please, Councillor
Thank
Councillor
you.
Johnson.
Just a point of information is that option 1 that council is looking at tonight to endorse shows an increase of only 18 megalitres.
Yep.
In the whole thing, the whole scheme of things. A question to our officers, if I may. 18 megalitres, how long would that last if we join that to that dam? How long would that last on a warm, sunny, a day when we're not going to get in rain, and just how long would it last?
Good picture to paint it. Sunny day, no rain.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll just take it on to the CEO, through the CEO to the Director of Engineering to come forward to the podium to answer your question.
Mr Mayor, I've got a couple of others to go with that.
Would have been good for the agenda briefing last week or prior to tonight's meeting. Thank you. That's fine.
Thank you, and through to me. During the middle of summer, that would equate to 2 weeks water. During winter, about 6 weeks water.
They find sunny days, just to clarify?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, just another question there is, I note that 3 options were looked at. However, 2 of them weren't drilled, or they weren't looked at in the way of the other. I'm just trying to find that here, and that was to do the geotechnical stuff. No geotechnical stuff for option 2, no geotechnical stuff for option 3 at all. So they weren't looked at, and that concerns me. So it just appears option 1 was the only one with the geotechnical stuff used. So that was just a query on that. And
Let's answer that first for you. Was there geotechnical investigations required for option 2 and option 3?
No geotechnical required for both those because we weren't deepening what was there.
We weren't looking to deepen what was already there, just using the existing. So there was no geotechnical done.
I'd make a comment on that, that perhaps that needed to be looked at because we are looking at alternatives. That's all. We're looking at alternatives. Someone would have thought that would have been in place. And the other one, I note that there is no under option 1 in the evap area. We know we're going to have evaporation, but then again, it's only going to last 2 weeks on a warm, sunny day. That itself, for a price of 2.38 million, is massive. I know we've had a little bit of a flurry around. No, it's a question. I'll talk about that one later.
So do you want an answer to that question?
Evaporation, what evaporation precautions are we going to be taking?
None.
At that sort? None.
No
at all?
evaporation controls. Director of Engineering, clarify.
Through the Mayor, the evaporation by deepening the dam is actually decreasing the amount of evaporation in that space.
All good? Cool, thank you. Thank you, Director of Engineering. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Turner.
So I too would like to speak in support of this motion, and also I'd like to thank City staff on their work and also their timing in getting it back to us so quickly, because we, as Councillor Winner highlighted, we've had a 4-month delay in this, and perhaps this project could have been maybe completed or underway. Just because there's other options there that we can use in the future doesn't mean we should go ahead with this. As the Deputy Mayor highlighted, water storage and catchment is not, it's not just that it's topical, it's very much needed within our community. Councillor Winner made mention of the water bank project. That's a huge project, massively needed in our community. Unfortunately, even if we secure funding for it, it is some time away. This project is something that we can get up and running that will increase our water catchment areas, especially over winter. Now, 6 weeks extra of water, that seems actually pretty good to me. So I'll take what we can get if we can increase our water catchment areas, because I want us to live in the best city possible with the best facilities possible, and we need water for that.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Councillor Johnson.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm all for water, I'm all for storage, I'm all for putting the city's hard-earned dollars into projects which give the city its livability and attracts people to it, so the parks and the gardens and all the rest of it. But then when I look at the bottom line, I look at $3.8 million to give us 2 weeks of water, or 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, or however you want to do it based on the weather, that is of a concern.
Point of order, just it's not 3.8, it's 2.3 million. 2.38, yes, correct. You said 3 before. Just
Okay, did I? Sorry, it was, okay, I'll correct that, 2.38 million for this. That money itself, I believe we could use in another way. On the golf course, yes, but maybe when we looked at it, option 2, and I'd imagine option 2, I would think would be behind 14 Fairway. I could be standard corrected with that, or be in that area. That was something that I'd had a discussion about when this first came up, that there are a number of other options. But at that point, we weren't looking at 18 megalitres. What we were looking at was 200 megalitres. And for 2.38 million, one would think that would make a big dent in digging a storage facility that then can be used. So that basically is half of the total city storage. We've got 400 and whatever it is megalitres in storage in the city. By going a little bit out at using $2.38 million, we would come close to putting 200 megalitres if we built one big enough. Water catchment through the area off videos not long ago was massive. Water that went through there was massive. So in that regard, for the use of ratepayers' money, and that's what we're looking at, I know that we're not going to hang this on the back of the water bank project. I'm not sure then how that goes with our funds if we've started something. Does that null and void that water bank project? And maybe I might be able to get an answer to that. That means we can't do anything with it? Or is that just new build? So that's where I sit. I'm for water storage, and it's something we should have been doing 6 years ago. And it was budgeted over that period of time, but just shelved and shelved and shelved for whatever reason. So I'm now looking at the dollars and making work, so bang for buck or water for buck, if you like. So unfortunately on this one, I'm not supporting this one. My reasons are pretty clear. I think that we can do better than enlarging something which is there, that will have one rain go through there, we'll fill it, and then we're back to square one, except we're going to have 2 extra weeks on a hot, dry, sunny summer, which we're going to be going into in about 4 or 5 months' time. This dam during that time will probably not be full, or will be full during that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Speaker 4, Councillor Brownlee.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think there's some good things we can take from Councillor Johnson's words there. I'll still be supporting this motion, and I'll just like to commend the CEO and the staff and the work that they've put in to date. I do look forward to us, throwing a few of those things on the table for discussion. We can definitely take a leaf out of the book of some of our traditional peoples, our Aboriginal peoples who are living in this region, who modified the growth of trees from within the Great Western Woodlands to be able to capture water, which is something very similar to what we are doing today. So I will be supporting the officer's recommendation in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brownlee. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Bodica.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll be supporting this motion too. We live in a dry, arid, area here, and I think that it's really important that we all support this motion. It's been well put together, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be moving forward with it.
Thank you, Councillor Bodica. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Before the mover has the right of reply. Councillor Johnson, some of your figures that you threw out before about storage I think are incorrect, which the Director of Engineering can answer for us. In regards to the total amount of storage that we have as a city, I think it is above what you have quoted. So I think it's 600 megalitres already in the city. The water bank project, no, it doesn't affect the water bank project. This is actually a further initiative to help support the water bank project. It's got nothing to do with water bank, so there's no repercussions there with the funding. This will complement what's already in place at the Piccadilly Street, Throstle Street Dam. Stormwater is the best water that we can have for our community. The quality of it is far better than our wastewater, because our wastewater after a while creates the solids onto the surface, or the salts onto the surface I should say, which impact the water going through, and it's got a better oxygenation rate. Don't need to go into the technicalities, we all know that. However, it does also reduce, even if it is 2 weeks, a reliance on our wastewater. There are some other points such as flood damage that if in the other locations, if we dam those further upstream, could provide some implications to the existing residential and the existing infrastructure. So at this point in time, option 1 with the golf course dam in the position that it is in, water's deviating around it, we're going to deviate water into it, so we're going to fill it up with further details. And further to that, while Councillor Johnson, I know you're very passionate about it as well, I think we can take some points out that you want to see some better increases in storage, but also at a much better financial point, which I think, commending to you to vote against this motion tonight, but I will definitely note those conversation points, and I think they're very valid, so thank you. The mover has the right of reply, which is Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to thank all councillors tonight for their comments and views that were raised around the table. Having access to at least 2 to 6 weeks of additional water and water storage sounds nice right about now, particularly with recent weather. And I'm sure there's a few community groups out there which would agree with that. We need to be continuing to explore options around water storage and dams. And as highlighted by Councillor Johnson, we should continue to explore all possible options for our community. But while we are looking, we cannot continue to sit on our hands. We need to act now. We need action today, we need action tomorrow, and we need action yesterday. I look forward to working towards greater sustainability in our community to complement the growth and lifestyle aspirations that we all share. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. As there has been a speaker against, I'll put the motion to a vote. Those in favour of the officer recommendation moved by Councillor Winner, second by Deputy Mayor, please raise your hand. Those against? Thank you. Carried 7-1. May we have Councillor Viskovich back, please? Our next item requires absolute majority, and that is 15.4.1, a fee waiver request for the Australian Golf Foundation Scholarship. A mover for the officer recommendation. Moved Councillor Turner, seconded Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Turner, you wish to speak?
Yeah, I'll just speak briefly to the motion. I was very pleased to see this come to council. Anything we can do to support budding young, I suppose, sports people in our community, especially girls. I know that females do play golf, and we do have an international female golf circuit, but I would suggest that perhaps the men's is a bit more prominent. Anything that we can do to not only encourage young people, but encourage female participation, I am fully supportive of, and I commend the council for the officers for bringing it to us, that having the opportunity to support that.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 100% agree with Councillor Turner. It's an outstanding initiative for our young girls of our community, and for $4,716, I think it will be money well spent, and hopefully steer young girls in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Bodica?
Thank you. Anything that can enhance the status of women and girls in our community is really good because it actually builds the fabric of the community, and it's also going to help build those young women who are going to be involved in this sense of self-worth. And I think, as Councillor O'Donnell said, it's really good value for money for what we'll actually be, doing with this waiver. And all I can say is I wish all of them the best and looking forward to seeing how well they achieve.
Thank you, Councillor Bodica. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Speaker for? Mover has the right of reply? No. Thank you. No dissent, councillors, on that item. Carried 9-0. Item 15.5.1 is the Event Strategy 2025 to 2027. At the 17th of February Ordinary Council meeting, Council resolved to bring the item to the 17th of March 2025 Ordinary Council meeting, having investigated opportunities and the financial implications for an annual Kids Fest and the inclusion of a New Year's Eve event. Councillors, the officer recommendation from that original meeting on the 17th of February has been updated. Mr. CEO, we can still move that officer recommendation, which is as put to you. I have two councillors down to speak, Councillor Winner and Councillor O'Donnell. Do either of you wish to move the motion? Councillor O'Donnell to move the motion, Councillor Winner to second. Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just in relation to this, after we got a briefing from staff on this, I noticed that many of the staff within the city are on annual leave over Christmas, New Year, which is a good thing because for the rest of the year we've got most hands on deck. I agree with Councillor Turner bringing forward a suggestion for something for New Year's Eve, and that within the city, and that I'm hoping that if the city does do something, we do it as simple as we can, rather than trying to get staff not to take holidays over Christmas or calling them back and things like that. And the other thing I would like and hope, we don't go fireworks. I'm one of the residents that was here, I think it was 3-4 years straight at the Trots, cancelled with the rain. But then again, if we put the fireworks on, we're going to get rain. So that could be a good thing. The manager of community services brought to our attention about laser lighting that was mentioned. I'd like to see if that's a way of going forward, something different, rather than a fireworks come New Year's Eve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I find it very fitting that on St. Patrick's Day, a worldwide event and celebration, that we are considering this motion here again tonight. Our community events form a huge part of what connects us as a community and what makes our city a wonderful place to live. It's critical that there are appropriate events every year for all age groups and that the city's calendar complements other community events and activities to create and support our rich and vibrant community environment. Through the additional discussions which have taken place over the last month, this message has been communicated and comes through very strongly. The city is committed to our community. Council is committed to our community. And we want to have some of the greatest opportunities available for everyone who calls Kalgoorlie-Boulder home. I feel the changes made over the last month on this plan and the call out for local partnerships to deliver events is the right move in the right direction that our city needs. I would encourage my fellow councillors to support this motion tonight and to usher in a period of wonderful excitement and opportunity for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Turner.
I too wish to speak to support this motion, and I'd like to thank the staff on not only the hard work they have done in putting this together, as they do every year, but also the presentation that we received from the officer, who explained a lot of the different costs involved and the logistics. Firstly, I'd like to make mention of a couple of the events that we actually do hold that are on here. So I'm sure there wouldn't be many people in our community that haven't attended at least a Sunset Concert Series concert at some stage. Those 3 concerts over those summer months are very well supported and they're fantastic, and we've had some great bands there. The Seniors Christmas Luncheon, I think, would be amongst not just our seniors in the community's favourite event, as we know when it always has a wait list. I think it's also our councillors and our other community people that volunteer. The Christmas Street Party, if you go out, and now it's out in Boulder, if you send, there was thousands and thousands of people out there for the lighting of the Christmas tree out in Boulder, and that's just a fantastic event, and it was great to see that area revitalised. Multicultural Festival, who doesn't love attending that? I think a lot of us love attending it just for the food. It's amazing what the different diverse ethnic groups and multicultural people can bring, and how much pride they take in their culture and the countries that they've come, their national dress that they get dressed in. It's just a fantastic event. The Art Prize, I was very pleased to attend that as an elected member, as I have other times in October, and to see the courtyard of the Art Centre set up like that, and just the magnificent art that was presented, that the city also supports in purchasing, was great. Then we have our other events, Youth Fest, which is obviously held every second year, Kids Fest, held every second year, alternating with our pop-up project. I'm sure many in the community still have great memories of the penguins, and just amongst others. So this is fantastic, what we do for our community, far more than what a lot of other local governments supply. And these are all very, very positive, well-received events that our community has. In regards to the New Year's event, I'm very pleased to see that it's been included in the officer's recommendation that we're going to look for a community group that we can perhaps partner with, because the best thing that a local government can do is to empower parts of our community to be stakeholders and partners in events. And if we can do that and support them, I think that's a wonderful option for us to perhaps be able to revitalise a New Year's event and empower a group in our community to be able to do that. So yes, I'd like to very much hope that our other fellow councillors support the motion as there and receiving the report.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Speaker for? The mover has the right of reply. Councillor O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Under the officer recommendation, item 2, it says authorise the CEO to call for expressions of interest from community groups to deliver a family-friendly New Year's Eve event. I'm hoping that we don't organise something that competes or conflicts with other businesses that are organising things on that night, where you've got licensed premises and bands. I'm hoping we don't organise licensed premises and bands down at another location and compete. If we don't have licensed premises and we had a band, well, we're not competing with things like that. And it would be good to have an event within the city, no licensed premises. That would be good, something different. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. No dissent has been recorded for this item. Is there any dissent, councillors? No dissent. Okay, we'll carry that 9-0. Item 15.5.2, Councillor Winner has declared an impartiality into. We have an officer recommendation for the Tourism Plan 2025 to 2030. Mover of the Tourism Plan. Councillor O'Donnell, seconded Councillor Turner. Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? Councillor Turner, you wish to speak? Yes, go ahead.
So I'd just like to speak to this. This is a comprehensive document of 94 pages. I believe will be available for people to read. It's a long-term plan for the next 5 years. Tourism is something that, as a city, I still don't think, I'm not saying the city council, but as a community in a city, we haven't grasped the benefits that we have to tourism here. On the weekend, I had some visitors from Perth, and they came down, and the first thing they wanted to do was go on a tour of Kalgoorlie-Boulder to see the sights, and they came back and they'd spent the whole day out, and they said, we haven't even touched the surface. For them, things that we definitely, we just take advantage of, and we think that they're already there. The super pit, it's fascinating for people as they fly in and fly over it, and they want to go and see it. Our Western woodlands, They are unique. There is no other habitat and environment in the world that is like our Western woodlands. We all go away on holidays and we embrace the place that we visit, and we wonder in the environment that we're in, and we really don't realise the uniqueness of the bush around Kalgoorlie-Boulder. So we have so many opportunities, and it's great that we've got this plan moving forward, and to get our stakeholders involved, because at the end of the day, we can only do things for the community, but this has to be run by the community.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Winner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight I will be supporting this motion as tourism is such a vital and valuable part of our community. As outlined, this plan has taken a very different route than previous plans and looks to set actions driven and set by our community to leverage our unique heritage, outback adventure appeal and mining tourism, amongst others. This plan is a living document, and I expect even further input and consultation will be sought and received over the next 5 years as we as a community work to deliver what this plan looks to achieve. I commend all parties involved in the development of this plan, including city staff and our consultant partners, and note that the city remains a key stakeholder and funder in driving sustainable tourism outcomes for our community and empowering our tourism partners within the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder to play a greater role in shaping the tourism footprint of our region. This plan is about creating and capturing opportunity, and I'm very excited to see this plan grow and evolve over the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor O'Donnell, you have a right of reply. Not taken. No dissent, councillors. Carried 9-0. 15.53, 15.54 were part of the en bloc. 15.55 was part of the en bloc. 15.56 and 15.57 the Deputy Mayor has declared a proximity interest in and will depart the room. Is there a mover for 15.56? Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Seconder, Councillor Brownlee. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? No, Councillor Brownlee, you wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? Councillor Johnson, speaker for, against, point of clarification?
Point of clarification.
Yep, go ahead.
Because this now the use will be changed, is there any way that we can ensure that it won't just become FIFO accommodation? Or is that it's not covered? I'm reading that it's not going to be.
Correct.
Thinking that it's not going to be. But is there any way to safeguard that it won't be? Because today we've had 3.
There's been others. These are, so the others have been a change of use to...
And that's the usage that I'm looking at. That's a holiday accommodation?
Yep, so this one is actually changing. So the last has been the change of use to holiday house. This is change of the non-conforming use, which is under the zoning.
Yes.
So therefore this is a little bit different to those other two.
It's just a question to say, is there...
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to think through it myself before I direct it to the CEO. Mr. CEO? Stand by as the Acting Director as well of Development and Growth.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is difficult to say absolutely that it won't be used as FIFO. Any rental property can be used as FIFO across the whole city. Changing it to holiday accommodation is just to bring it in line with the new uses. If it's used every day of the year as holiday accommodation, that's, it can almost be de facto workforce accommodation. That's the same with any rental property across the city.
I do note, though, that the applicant has put together an operational management plan, which is probably a little bit more conforming to their use of being under holiday accommodation. No further questions?
Probably just one. We're currently in a climate where camps are being spoken about and FIFO within communities are being spoken about. That was just to clarify that. And I think the CEO has given me the answer I need with that one. It could be, we don't know. So one would hope that it's not. How do we police it? So I suppose we look for white utes parked out the front.
It's the dilemma that local government faces, unfortunately, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Winners, point of clarification.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just following on Councillor Johnson's questions, it sparked a question of my own. Just through the Mayor to the CEO, what penalties are there in place if applicants were to use a property such as a holiday accommodation in a manner other than what is approved by the city?
Mr CEO.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I will have to do some further follow-up just to come back with a firm answer on it. However, once a planning approval is given, that is the use for that facility. We would be able to look at compliance action against them if they are using it contrary to the planning approval. But I will confirm all that and come back in writing to councillors.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Thank you, Mr CEO. Councillor Boddicker, you got a question? Yes, you can clarify something. Go ahead.
It's sort of like a clarification and a question. There was an objection to this, wasn't there? It's in the. I just wanted to know how that would be dealt with in terms of antisocial behaviour at the property. But you've said that the people that are putting the proposal have put a management plan in place.
Correct.
So they would be responsible for what's going on there.
Yeah.
So we don't have any control over that at all.
No.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Just
Thank
wanted
you.
to.
Thanks, Councillor Boddicker. I'm going to go with speaker against, speaker for, speaker against, speaker for. Councillor Viskovich, do you wish to add anything? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As much as the officer's recommendation is advising to go forward with this, I do have concerns, especially over parking, noting that there are 2 units up for tonight's discussion, looking to elect to change to accommodation for holiday accommodation. And the limited amount of parking in that complex is very, I think there was 5 or 6, with the maximum number of occupants being permitted of 4 in each unit. That does give concerns to me. However, obviously we can only vote on the way that the planning is recommended. So I just did want to clarify that my concerns for the parking.
Would you like clarification on that, Councillor Viskovich?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Mr CEO, if you'd like to bring up page 1, the bottom of page 137 into 138, which is probably more applicable to the next item, but it covers off both items.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I'm a little bit confused on your actual question, councillor. I'm trying to understand what you're asking.
Mr CEO, can you please provide some clarification around car parking? The LPS 2 requires the use of holiday accommodation to provide 2 parking bays per unit or 1 bay per bedroom, whichever is greater. The unit has 2 bedrooms, meaning 2 parking bays are required. However, the unit only has 1 parking bay on site. Staff have identified further from that. Can you please clarify what that staff have identified?
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I don't have that information in front of me. I understand where it's going. They did assess the parking requirements as part of the assessment. So from the officer's perspective, they deemed it to be appropriate still, even though there would be a parking shortfall. That is quite common with a lot of applications that are put forward.
Councillor Viskovich.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Point of clarification. So we are saying that our scheme is requesting 2 parks and we're only supplying 1 in this change.
Yeah, thank you. Through the Mayor, the issue around car parking on site versus on street parking is something that has been considered by officers. It is considered with many applications as well. So there is an ability to park outside the property. In fact, there was a recent one with one of the childcare centres where additional parking was provided on street. So you can still meet those requirements. It's not all contained within the site though.
Thank you, Mr CEO. I'll put that item to a vote. Those in favour of 1556, moved by Councillor Viskovich, seconded by Councillor Brownlee. I will put it to a vote. So those in favour, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're 4. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're split. I will use the casting vote to approve. So my casting vote is in favour of. Thank you, councillors. 15.5.7 is the change of non-conforming use to lot 173, unit 5, 178 Egan Street. Again, the Deputy Mayor has declared a proximity interest. These are part of the same complex. We have the same officer recommendation as the previous. Is there a mover of the officer recommendation? Move Councillor Viskovich, second Councillor O'Donnell. Councillor Viskovich wish to speak? Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to speak? Any councillors wish to speak? No? So you do want to speak. So therefore you'd like to speak against. Thank you, Councillor Turner.
So I'd like to speak against. It's a very similar motion to the previous one. I just want to clarify why I'm speaking against it. I had similar concerns, not so much for the use of the property once it became that use, because it's exactly the same as we don't tell hoteliers who can stay in their hotels, we don't tell residents who can stay in their houses, and we've had other things that have been converted from pubs into accommodation. And look, at the end of the day, they book in who they want, so that's a challenge for the city. I also have concerns about the parking. I know that we say that off-street parking can get used, but how many times can off-street parking get used for different occupants along the same street? And we're continually providing the same off-street parking for different uses, that it doesn't all go into each other. There's 6 properties there. I have really big concerns about the parking there, that the other properties that are in that complex may be impacted on it. So that's why I'm not supporting it and speaking against it.
Can I just clarify, you're speaking about on-street parking or on-site parking? Okay, I was a little bit confused. I think I picked up what you're putting down. Thank you. Councillor Speaker 4, Councillor Winner.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. While I recognise the concerns identified by councillors, particularly regarding to this motion, it is worth noting that within the officer's reports, it states that the applicant has advised that the unit has been used for holiday accommodation since 2022. Nowhere within the report has complaints since the time that it's been used been identified or recorded in relation to parking or any concerns around the purpose of the unit itself. We as a city are always looking for opportunities to make accommodation available, and holiday homes is a great way, particularly after endorsing our fantastic Kalgoorlie-Boulder tourism plan, to attract new tourists into our region, and particularly families which are looking for that bit of a B&B or holiday home sort of experience. So I would encourage councillors to support this motion tonight, much in line with previous motions as we have both on block and the previous item. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winner. Speaker against. Councillor Johnson.
Yes, thank you. Much the same as what I'd mentioned before. However, with the parking, and the CEO has put it very clearly that it would be against the city's policy on parking on these units. And in that regard, I find that I can't support something that goes against the city's own policies, which is a new policy based on LP2. And I don't think that we can take that lightly. If we start to do it, then we'll get more and more questions asked about, if you like, our policies. We've already knocked back requests to do other things on properties which didn't line up with our policies. We go down this path, we're endorsing it. So I'm going to vote against it mainly because it doesn't go with our policies. We will be in direct conflict with them.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Speaker 4, Councillor O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I asked this question at the briefing about LPS2 traffic and parking, and said that holiday accommodation is to provide 2 parking bays per unit or 1 bay per bedroom, whichever one is greater. I did get a reply from the CEO that if there's 1 parking bay and sufficient bays outside, then that is acceptable. I think, probably not the exact wording, but the CEO said that you can incorporate the street into that.
Sorry, Councillor O'Donnell, I realise that you're the seconder, so you have to forego now. I couldn't read my scribble.
I forgot I did.
Yeah, no, sorry. I actually couldn't read my handwriting. I needed to clarify with the CEO.
The
I
jury will
apologise.
disregard my
Yep,
comment.
duly disregarded. Thank you. That will also teach me to write neater. Speaker for, speaker against. The mover has a right of reply. Councillor Viskovich.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you to my fellow councillors for their comments. I just wanted to also clarify the fact that we are looking at a unit that is surrounded by accommodation in our city centre. So it is something that is already available in our city centre, and we are in a shortage of housing. I just think that changing accommodation to holiday rentals in the middle of a city centre that's got already accommodation available, and the parking again is a concern. It's just not something that I believe that we should be changing.
Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Those in favour of 1557, as there has been dissent recorded, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4. Minute Secretary, do you have both? I think they were both identical for both. Therefore, the casting vote is required, and I will use my casting vote in the affirmative and be voting for 1557. (1558) was part of the en bloc. 1559 is our final item for tonight. Can we have the Deputy Mayor back, please? Just about forgot about it. Sorry, Deputy Mayor, just about forgot it. 1559, Development Application, Medical Centre and Office, Lot 5-2, number 158 to 160 Egan Street. I've declared an impartiality as I've participated in events that have been fundraisers for the RFDS, and the RFDS is going to be the tenant. Do I have a mover for 1559? Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Seconder, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Viskovich, you wish to speak? No. Councillor Johnson, you wish to speak?
I think the usage of that area, what it was is what it's going to be, and I think RFDS going in there and doing what they're doing within the CBD, which would be fantastic. And thank the officers for bringing this one forward, and I think it's only going to be a benefit for both RFDS and our city.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Turner.
Very excited to see this come to council. Obviously, we know that this building was devastated by a fire. To see a building that is repaired in a relatively short time and reused rather than be left to become derelict around our city. So I'm going to commend the owners of the property. I'm not just, I'm going to say, taking the insurance money. They're invested in the city and they've improved it. And now we're going to have a fantastic tenant in there in the RFDS. Expanding their medical services in the city. So they're not just going to be the RFDS, they're going to have consulting doctors and practitioners there, which is fantastic to our city to grow our healthcare availability for our city. So this is just a great development approval to come to the city.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Speaker against? Speaker for? Point of clarification, Councillor Johnson?
Just a point of clarification. The occupancy of this is sooner than later?
The occupancy of this, I don't have in front of me, but they'll need to do now the approved works, which was for the signage and also, which was part of the development application, and also the building works, so that they still need to take place before they can be occupied.
Just to bring to the attention to the city that once that is functional, if that's in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and we don't have a Kingsbury Park up and running, we will need to remove and reinstate the parking next door to it in the car park that's there. We'll take the skating facility out.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Yeah, no, point of information. Thank you. Speaker against? Speaker for? Mover has the right of reply. Councillor Viskovich.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just wanted to clarify there was parking at the back of this complex for the residents to use as well. I think it's great that the RFDS are coming to the city centre. I think anything that we can do to brighten the city centre is always a positive.
Thank you. Any dissent, councillors? No dissent gathered. Carried 9-0. Councillors, there is one question of due notice which has been given. I'll put it up on the screen because it actually comes from me. A policy review is pending for many policies. Can the signage policy be updated around election signage? Mr. CEO, a response, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Then there's a couple of points in relation to this. The first one, election signage is regulated under the Activities on Thoroughfares and Trading in Thoroughfares and Public Places local law. So it's not just an administrative policy that we have to work through. That being said, though, some other councils do have policies to deal with election signage, which we will go through and we'll bring a report back to the Strategic and General Purposes Committee.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Item 17, confidential items tonight. There are nil. 18, the date of the next meeting will be the 22nd of April 2025. Before I close the meeting, can I thank Councillor Winner for getting into the spirit of St Patrick's Day, which is fantastic considering he's also got a leg which has got more strapping around it than most of the footy clubs used on the weekend. So thank you, Councillor Winner. Appreciate that and good to have you at the table after your operation last week. Thank you to our staff as well, and I'll close tonight's meeting at 8:17 p.m. Thank you, councillors, and thank you, staff.